Okay, well, good afternoon, Ian. Thank you for coming in. It's end of season, so we're going to have a little look at what's happened during the season, what we're going to look forward to going forward. I think it's fair to say we've not had the best season on the field, have we? So, we're ending the season on a low with a few defeats on the run. What's your take on it?
No, I mean it's not been acceptable. It's not been a good season. But I think at the end of the day, when we look at, as I say, I've had lots of conversations with fans in the past about what our ambitions are and where we wanted to be. We certainly didn't want to be fighting relegation on the last day. Mm-hmm. Our ambition hasn't changed since you started asking me this 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. We want to be promoted to the National League, with the club in a position both on and off the field where it is able to then maintain its position in the National League and start to look from there up, as opposed to worrying about getting into the National League and fighting relegation back down to the National League North. Mm-hmm. The idea was, as I say, to make sure that we were in a position on and off the pitch to do so. Liam and I this time last year thought that we had a squad that was capable of doing that. Yeah. But the league this year has been a complete anomaly. It's been the most difficult season that any of us have known, and it really does. It has shown the huge difference in, or the gulf in financial position between the clubs across the league. You've got 2 or 3 clubs with huge finances for this league, effectively kind of buying their way up into the National League, and then you've got more than a handful of clubs who are fighting for survival, not able to pay wages, and it really does show the gulf. And I think my main surprise at this point is that all the clubs survived to the end of the season, because there were,
was it that precarious?
Yeah. I mean, there was a number of clubs at Christmas not able to pay their wages. I know of clubs towards the end of the season not able to pay wages, and Liam and I and Potsy never wanted Southport to be in that position. We weren't, and we haven't been, and we've maintained that stability throughout the season in really difficult circumstances. When you think of the periods with no home games, 6 games away on the bounce. There's been some really difficult periods.
Very disjointed season, hasn't it, from that point of view?
There's been no kind of uniformity to enable us to properly work the budgets and work the finances. But we've got through to the end of the season, and I don't for one second kind of want to give the idea that our only intention was to survive, because it wasn't. Leading up to Christmas, we were on a really good run. Mm-hmm. We were comfortable in relation to the playoffs, and we would have continued to push to be in those playoffs if performances on the pitch had to back that up. Unfortunately they didn't, and that's what we've got to do now. We've got to go away and have a long hard look at what went wrong, why it went wrong, and what we do to put that right moving forward.
You mentioned Liam there. Obviously it's been a very difficult season for Liam with constraints he's had to work under. Just tell us a little bit about more of that so people understand what's exactly been the situation.
No, I mean, particularly from December onwards, Liam has been, he's trying to balance one of probably 10 posts at the club. He has been manager, he's been assistant manager since Terry left. He's been doing his own scouting, recruitment for this coming season, all on his own. Plus, obviously, from a directorial perspective, he's been helping me in relation to running the club, balancing the finances. He's played a major part in a number of the biggest sponsorships. Mm-hmm. He's been working with me in relation to Big Help, and really getting that deal over the table, over the line for the last 3 months or so now. So he's been pulled in any manner of different directions, and going forward, it's been our priority to get in the right help and assistance for Liam moving forward into next season. We will be announcing before the end of this week, hopefully, a new assistant who is a very kind of young, dynamic assistant who ticks all the boxes as to what we should be looking for. He'll bring a completely different dynamic to the playing style than we've been used to. He's got all the appropriate qualifications, education-wise, experience-wise, despite his young age. And when we announce him and people have a look, they will see kind of how much he has done. Bear in mind, the age he's at the moment, mm-hmm. and it's really kind of looking to the future that we've brought him in.
Very promising appointment.
Yeah, and we will be announcing that we're bringing in help from a kind of older, more experienced head in relation to helping Liam from a scouting and an analysis perspective as well. And again, that is a lot down to the partnership with Big Help as well. Yeah. So it's effectively getting the help that Liam needs on the pitch, so that when we give him the help and assistance financially from off the pitch, he's got the full team there that he heads up to go and give it as good a shot as he can next season.
Yeah, excellent. Earlier on in the season we did a Q&A, didn't we? And we got a bit of stick for it, all of us, for it being negative, showing a lack of ambition. We were asked a lot of questions, you answered them very honestly. What was your take on that, Ian? How did you feel when you saw the reaction?
I mean, again, ambition is something we keep getting asked about. And again, it's something which, we need to keep looking back over the interviews that we've done for the last 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Because, it's not something we've ever deviated from, I don't think.
No.
Our ambition has always been to make sure that the club is in a position on and off the pitch whereby, as and when we get promoted to the National League, we stay in the National League. We stay in the National League comfortably with a view to then looking up as opposed to looking down. Liam and I have said on numerous occasions that we spent a lot of time looking at clubs that have stayed up in the National League and how they did it. The Altrinchams, the Gatesheads, what they've done, what they've put in place, as opposed to the clubs that haven't stayed up and have come straight back down. Where did Chorley go wrong? Where did Kings Lynn go wrong? And ambition-wise, I know one or two of the fans were saying to me through the course of the season, are we going up? Are we ready to go up? And I would have said no, because on and off the pitch, we were not in a position whereby where we went up, we would stay up, and we wouldn't be looking over our shoulders. That's not to say that we've never wanted at any stage to go up. And you only have to sit down with Liam for 10 minutes at the table to see how ambitious he is and how desperate he is to really, bring success back to this club. If we'd have maintained our position before Christmas, where we were just off the playoffs or in the playoffs, we would have made it work.
Yeah.
Would I have felt as confident about making it work at that point, and if we'd have gone up? No.
Right.
But we would have made it work.
Yeah.
We feel a lot more confident now with the extra finances, extra support and extra backing that we're putting in place this summer, to know that we will be in a position whereby, if we are in the playoffs or better next season, we will be looking up. Yeah. And we will be looking up and making plans as to how we continue to progress the club, rather than worrying about whether we become straight back down.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned the Big Help project. That's something that's gone out recently. I think it's a bit confusing about exactly what it is at the moment. I know there's a lot more to come out over the coming week, but can you just give us a brief overview of how you see it at the moment here?
Yeah, Big Help. Essentially, before lockdown hit, we obtained our charitable status, set up our charitable commission, and we had lots of really good plans, projects as to how to get the club back to where it needed to be in the community. This is a community club. It should be the centre of the community. It should be the hub of the community. And all the plans that we had in place before lockdown, were intent on putting us back in that position. They fell away during lockdown. And what the Big Help will do is they will come in, they will take control of the whole community aspect of the club. It's what they do, it's what they're good at. If you look on their website, you will get an idea of all the things that
will they run projects for us then? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I mean, we've got all our own ideas from pre-lockdown anyway.
Yeah.
You know, you're walking football, for example, the sport of memories. You know, targeting the kids in the schools and how we get what we can do for the kids and their families, and knock-on effect that will have in bringing those kids into the club. You know, because the kids, you know, can't necessarily get to Anfield or Goodison, and this is their club, this is their local club, but we need to remind them of that, and we need to kind of get them back into buying into the club again. And that's what the community projects will do, and they will be projects across the board, you know, all ages, all type of people. And as I say, that's what Big Help do, that's what they're really good at. You know, and we're really excited to see how that will work at Southport. They've told us, they've told everyone how they're putting £100,000 into those projects.
That's projects, is it, that money goes into?
Well, that's going into the commission, the charitable commission itself, to then develop those projects and really push them on. And you know, you can imagine the effect that will have in the community as a whole. And you know, the club will benefit massively from that, because it's not only these projects that they will be working alongside us with, it's also projects to do with Hague Avenue itself.
Right.
You know, the signage around the club. You know, they'll be able to get involved with helping with staff with hospitality, or wherever we need it, they'll be able to help. Yeah, even to the kind of the likes of the outside of the main stand and the cladding that needs doing. The picture of the Tranmere game, which is more than needing to be replaced. All projects that the club would have spent a fair bit of money on, which would have come out of the budget, and they can help with, which means that there's more money left in the budget for Liam and next season.
Brilliant, exciting stuff. You mentioned earlier a little bit about additional investments as well. I know we put something out with that might be happening. Is there any update on that?
Yeah, we've again, you know, we've not hidden away from the fact over the last 2 or 3 years that we will talk to anyone who wants to get involved with the club. And
every time we've sat here, we've mentioned it, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, and anyone who's shown an interest, you know, we've spoken to, and unfortunately 99% tend to be hoaxers.
As we say,
who you know, certainly not got the best interest of the club at heart anyway. That's if they're genuine. The people that I'm speaking to at the moment, they have been to Hague Avenue a few times now. They have strong links with Southport. They were at the Kidderminster game, and you know, we're really quite a way on with talks with them in relation to, you know, they're getting involved. They're kind of due diligence at the moment in relation to.
We've reached that stage where they're going to
and we're continuing to talk. You know, Liam and I get on with them, they get on with us. It all seems to be you know, set up and in place. And again, you know, if we can get that over the line, that will result in more money into the pot for Liam as well.
Excellent.
So you know, all bodes well.
Good. Early on this season, you and Claire, you got quite a bit of stick and abuse and everything. How did you feel about that at the time, Ian?
It's difficult. It's difficult because as a family, you know, the whole family have been involved in the club since day one. You know, we put in massive amounts of hours. You know, every week, in addition to obviously the finances, which has been no secret this season. You know, more so than the 100,000 plus that we've put in is the kind of investment time wise that we've all put in, whether that's kind of me dealing with all the issues on a daily basis, whether that's Claire putting in far too many hours a week into keeping the hospitality up and going, and you know, bringing in the 18th parties and the 21st and everything else.
I don't think people always see that, do they?
No, they don't, and you know, right down to kind of Isabella, who started to help her with, you know, even glass collecting or whatever that she can do. You know, and Elizabeth's here every week, as is Darren. So, you know, as a family, we put in massive hours. So it's really difficult when you're doing that, to have fans banging on the doors and banging on the windows outside protesting, to the point where the girls are kind of genuinely intimidated, fearful to be here, and we're having to kind of hide them away. You know, that's never great.
And you missed several games, didn't you, because you didn't feel you could bring them?
Yeah, I mean, well, we certainly couldn't bring them because, again, you know, what you're hearing at the ground and what you're seeing on social media is not what any children should be subjected to for their parents, you know, at all. And it was difficult, and you know, there was more than one occasion when Claire and I had to sit down and think, you know, really, can we continue doing this?
I think there was a day, wasn't there, when everyone got worried that you were just going to...
Yeah, but I mean, again, you know, as a family, we sat down and the overriding thought was that, do you know what, we've put in so much time and effort that there's no way we're going to be kind of driven out by people. And, you know, when we decided that, then we decided that the best way to deal with it was to kind of get to the bottom of why are we in this position. You know, let's start talking to the people who are protesting. Let's, you know, bring them in as individuals, sit them down, find out what's going on. And the really disappointing thing, I think, was that, you know, everyone that we've brought in and everyone we've spoken to who are part of kind of that group who, you know, have been problematic at times through the season, we've had genuinely good conversations with. And it seems to be that there's an element of misinformation in the background, which has caused this and led to it. Because, you know, each of the reasons why elements of the fans group that have been protesting, you know, when we've kind of sat down with them and said, well, why, you know, what is your understanding of the situation? Again, it's all been based on misinformation. You know, there's been all kinds of rumours that have been wrong. And the really disappointing thing is that it seems that there's kind of 3 or 4 adults out there who are feeding this information to the, I say kids, different age groups obviously, with the intent of causing the problems, potentially driving us out for whatever reason. And, you know, as bad as that sounds, the positive for that is that through starting to talk to them and starting to get to the bottom of this misinformation and the realisation that it is based on misinformation means that we can now move forward working with them, because, you know, everyone I've spoken to and we've kind of got past that misinformation. It's a new start. It's, you know, and you know, we've had a lot of apologies on that basis, and it's also been really, you know, enlightening for Claire and I as to the support we've had from other fans. You know, we've had lots of messages, lots of emails that, you know, you've seen.
I've seen them all coming into it,
and people stop us at the ground as well, you know, just, you know, expressing their support, and that really helped. That was probably the kind of the clincher in relation to staying and really seeing it through. Because when you weigh up, you know, the fact that this misinformation just goes back to 2 or 3 people and the amount of support that we have had, it really makes us kind of not just want to stay, but really want to drive on and get the club where it should be.
Excellent. Well, working on that, we put out recently that we're looking to bring in a working party, and the response already has been fantastic. Maybe not from the younger end. Is there something you could say just to try and encourage some of the younger ones to put the names forward?
No, I mean, it has been fantastic. I think, you know, from the responses that I've seen on social media, I think I've only seen one negative response on Paul chat of somebody kind of questioning the merits of this and whether it's genuine. I haven't had an application from that person, which is unfortunate. So if Real Deal wants to apply to come on our working party and see how, you know, it is going to work, then feel free. And if he doesn't want to, then maybe you can go on Paul chat and tell people why. But yeah, we've had a fantastic response.
It's been brilliant.
The applications that have come in, it's quite exciting to see the people who want to get involved and you know, what they can bring to the table. It is a completely genuine attempt to bridge the gap between board and fans.
There is a divide at the moment, isn't there? I think we do desperately need to do that, don't we?
I'm confident that there's far less of a divide now that I've started having talks with individuals. I'm really confident that there's far less of a divide. And I hate to go on about it, but I do think it comes back to just kind of the misinformation out there from 203, combined with obviously the performances on the pitch.
Yeah.
But I'm far more confident going forward that we can bridge those gaps. I've spoke at length to Howard in relation to the Trust in Yellow to make sure that, you know, we're not in any way stepping on Trust in Yellow's toes and setting up the working party, and he knows exactly where we're coming from and what we're trying to do. And as I say, I've been genuinely excited about the applications that we've had so far. I have spoken to one or two of the younger group in relation to getting them involved as well. I will speak to another couple who have shown a potential interest, because we really do want a working party that covers all ages. You know, all types of fan out there really should be represented in this working party, or at least have access to someone in the working party that they can speak to. And that's what we want to do. And I'm more than confident now with the applications that we've got that we'll do that, and also with the kind of one or two others that I'll speak to see if they're interested in coming on board as well.
Going forward,
and that will be a genuine attempt, not just for the club to speak to the fans to kind of see what the issues are, but for also the fans to regularly come to the club, so that if there are issues, if there is misinformation out there, if there are things that the club can do better, particularly off the pitch, then, you know, they've got a direct access to myself or Liam or Steve, and we can set up those meetings and have those meetings as regularly as is necessary.
Excellent.
To really kind of get Hague Avenue back to where it was, you know, 3-4 years ago, where it was a really good place to be.
Yeah. I think we've had some positives even this weekend, haven't we? I know Steve was telling me about 7 Craven Minor finals, 4 District League finals, the academy numbers are trebling for next season, so all that sort of thing going on in the background can only be good for the club.
I mean, again, that all shouts community involvement as well. And again, that's, you know, where we want to be. One of the really good things to come out of the abuse and the problems of the last 12 months has been the support that we've had, not just from the fans but the volunteers. You know, Claire and I are in no doubt that, you know, the volunteers are all very much on side and part of the team. And that hasn't necessarily always been the case kind of 3 or 4 years ago. But if nothing else now, you know, we know
we're all together.
Yeah, and it's great. It's great to know that. It's great to kind of see that on a daily basis for Claire when she's here. You know, when I come down, and you know, there's far more kind of discussion, if nothing else, between volunteers, board, Liam. I was going to say myself, it's more Claire. People don't talk to me, but people do talk a lot to Claire. So yeah, I mean, there's a real good feel again from a volunteer perspective. We just need to now extend that out to the fans as well. And as I say, you know, I don't want to paint a particularly miserable picture in that respect, because the amount of support that we have had through this has been, you know, phenomenal. And you know, apologies if I haven't responded to anyone, because I know, you know, I've tried to. Because it is all very, very kind of well received.
Well, I think I said at the start, it's 4 years since we started doing these interviews, Ian, and I think this last season's probably been the most difficult, hasn't it, on and off the pitch. But I think the big thing is we want a winning team, don't we? And I think going forward, that is one thing we all want to see.
Yeah, and I mean, again, people will question. I've got no doubt they'll question, you know, where we are position-wise, where Liam is position-wise, and, you know, moving into next season. But you know, there's only so much I can say at this stage, for obvious reasons, but you know, when I'm getting contacted and when I see the contacts from players who are contacting us because they want to play with Liam and they want to be part of Liam's side going into next season, you know, regardless of what's happened this last season, people have got so much respect for Liam. You know, what he is as a manager, how he's respected across, you know, at least the Northwest footballing community. You know, the players that he is speaking to at the moment and wanting to bring in, they are everything that we need to really push the team on to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
You know, we know we need that kind of colossal centre back that every team at this level needs. We know we need somebody in midfield who is
an older head,
horrible to play against,
yeah.
Which maybe we haven't had. You know, that kind of, you know, narky.
I think that's right, isn't it? We've missed the narc, haven't we, really?
Yeah, and you know, he's got those players, and he's had those players. It won't surprise anyone. He's had those players kind of in sight since January. You know, we know the, you know, top end of the pitch. We need the 20 goal a season centre forwards to be helping Jordan.
Yeah.
And again, that's our priority number one. Liam's got kind of at least 3 in sight that he wants to bring in and is looking at. So you know, that's where we need to really go out and spend the additional budget that we're getting for next season.
Yeah.
And really grow the squad in such a way that, you know, whatever we're lacking this season is completely covered going into next.
Just a final word then on season tickets and memberships. Obviously we want everybody to renew. What would you say to supporters about that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're not kidding anybody. We know we haven't had the season that we wanted to have, but hopefully, you know, people can see that this has not been a normal season by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
You know, on and off the field, it's been difficult. It's been a difficult time financially for, as I said before, 99% of clubs. I mean, again, you know, I've seen comments on social media, people say, no, you know, we're not going to renew. Obviously, that doesn't help us to get where we want to be.
Yeah.
And as much as the fans have been frustrated and disappointed by the season we've had, you know, times that by 100 for myself and Liam, because it's been difficult. I know Liam has had sleepless nights. I've had sleepless nights. This is not a position that we will be in again or want to be in again. Yeah. And you know, I'm genuinely excited by the players that Liam are looking to bring in. And you know, I've got no doubt at all that we'll be having very different conversations this time next season. The majority of the support has been fantastic through difficult times this season. We just need to carry that on into next season. Because if we're attracting good crowds like we have been, you know, we were averaging 1,100-1,200 just after Christmas. We obviously had the Chester game. If we can attract those crowds during a bad season, again, it's quite exciting as to what we can do if we really push on next season and get to where we want to be.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this time next season we're celebrating in a nice positive way. We've had a good season and everybody's happy.
And I've got no doubt that will be the case.
Yeah.
As I say, Liam, with a good management team behind him, with, you know, good new players to supplement those that we've already got. And you know, don't you know, no one should fail to look at the players, because the players are disappointed.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't want to be in a relegation battle, and we've got some really good players. They know that, we know that, and really it's up to them next season to come out fighting and prove that this season, you know, has been put behind us, and we can move on next season to get back to where we should be.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ian.
Okay.